Who am I now? It's a question many of us ask after life changes us. After becoming a mother, after loss, after success, after disappointment, after life takes a turn we never expected, life has a way of changing us. Some experiences we choose and others we never saw coming. We grow, we change, we learn, we let go. And sometimes, somewhere along the way, we look at ourselves and realize, I'm not the same person I used to be. So after everything life has brought me through, there's one question left to ask. Who am I now? Welcome to Real Talk for Real Life. I am your host, Sherry Ann, and I am so glad to have you here today. You just got a glimpse of a small piece of my life, from becoming a teenage mother to becoming a wife, a mother again, to becoming a widow, and eventually finding purpose again. You saw some of the good, you saw some of the not so good, and some of the unexpected turns that eventually led me to becoming a podcast host, a coach, a founder of a nonprofit dedicated to uplifting women. Listen, my life has taken many different turns. Some I choose and some I never saw coming. And maybe your life has too. For me, the question is, who am I now? And through every season, life has required me to look at myself again and again and continue to ask that question. Who am I now? Not who I used to be, not who other people want me to be or expect me to be, but after the changes, after the losses, after the wins, after the growth and everything that life has taught me, who have I become? And maybe your story may not look like mine. It may be a little different than mine. Maybe your transition wasn't widowhood. Maybe it was divorce. Maybe it was your children grew up and left home. Maybe it was you lost a job. Maybe you became a caregiver. Maybe your relationship ended. Or maybe you accomplished everything you wanted to, and somehow you're still feeling like there's more left. So what now? Whatever brought you here today, this conversation isn't about my story. It's about helping you to take a look at yours. Because sometimes we become so busy in our lives that we forget to ask that question. And today, I want us to explore three things. Let's rediscover our identity. Let's learn how to navigate life's transitions. And let's heal, find clarity, and move forward. And before we're finished, I want us to take a step deeper and ask the question, who is God calling me to be in this season?
When that love from coast to coast, planting them seeds so you know we growing, believing in us, damn right we know when. Ain't got time for the stress and pain, no time for hate, no time for games. It's time to take it up, take it up, we gon' take it up. Hey.
Real talk for real life. Real talk for real life.
Welcome back. I want to start here. Have you ever looked at your life and realized you don't completely recognize the person you've become? And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. Sometimes life simply changes us. Let's talk about rediscovering your identity. Sometimes we become so attached to our roles that we don't even realize how much of our identity we've placed inside of them. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a nurse, I'm a caregiver, I'm the strong one, I'm the person everybody calls when something goes wrong. But what happens when one of those roles changes? What happens when the children grow up? What happens when the marriage ends? What happens when someone dies? What happens when the career you've built no longer fulfills you? Or what happens when you're simply not the same person anymore? That's where I believe many of us begin to feel lost. And I've experienced that. There was a time when I thought healing meant somehow getting back to who I used to be. But I've learned something new, and that's God wasn't asking me to go backwards, Life has changed me. My experience has changed me. Loss had changed me. Growth had changed me. And instead of constantly trying to find the old Sherry, I had to become curious about the woman standing in front of me now. And I had to ask, what does she need? What has she learned? What matters to her now? What is she ready to let go of? And maybe that's where you are. Maybe you're trying so hard to get back to the old person, the old version of you, that you haven't stopped long enough to meet the person you're becoming. Rediscovering your identity doesn't necessarily mean finding the person you used to be. And sometimes it means giving yourself permission to discover who you are now. Let's talk about navigating life transitions. Transitions, they're uncomfortable. Yes, they are. Somewhere between what was and what hasn't happened is so unfamiliar to us. We know something has changed, but we don't know necessarily what's next. And that's a difficult place to be. We want answers, we want some clarity, we want God to show us the entire plan right now. But sometimes He doesn't. Sometimes we don't have the direction, and that's okay. And I've learned that not knowing everything doesn't mean that you're lost. It may be simply that you're becoming. I can have told you I would be a teenage mother and everything that my life will become. I can have predicted becoming a widow. I could have predicted becoming a coach. I could not have predicted becoming a founder of a nonprofit, and I certainly couldn't have predicted sitting here having this conversation with you right now today. Some things I planned, some things happened to me, and some things grew out of experiences I never would have chosen. Trust me. That's life. And navigating transitions has taught me that eventually I have to stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what do I do with where I am right now? And that's a coaching question because we cannot always control what happens to us. But speaking from lived experience, I've learned that I can become more intentional about what I choose to do next. Let's give ourselves permission to begin again. This one is important. You are allowed to begin again. Beginning again doesn't mean that everything before this moment was a failure. It doesn't mean you're erasing your past either, and it certainly doesn't mean you're pretending something didn't hurt. Beginning again simply means I'm willing to see what is still possible for my life. And sometimes we hold ourselves hostage to the old version of our lives. I should be further. I thought I'd be married by now. I thought I would have kids by now. I thought my marriage was going to last. I thought I still have that career. I thought my children would be here forever. I thought my life would look different. But what if we stop measuring our lives against what we thought they were supposed to look like? And what if instead we gave ourselves permission to ask, what is possible from here? You don't need every answer before you begin. You don't. Sometimes you just need enough courage to take the next step. Let's talk about healing, finding clarity, and moving forward. And this is where the work begins. And sometimes this work can be one of the most difficult things we'll ever have to do. And I want to be clear about something. Healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened. And clarity doesn't always mean knowing exactly what the next 5 years will look like. Most of us don't even know what the next hour is going to look like. Sometimes clarity is simply becoming honest about where you are right now. So I want you to ask yourself, what do you need? What no longer fits you? What are you afraid of? What brings you peace? And what are you doing that you truly need to be doing, but you're not? Sometimes moving forward begins with being honest with yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself. Who is God calling you to be? And now I want to take our conversation one step further because I've realized something. Who am I now isn't only an identity question. For me, it has also become a calling question. Not who was I, not who does everybody else think I should be, and not even who will become or who I will become 5 years from now. Who is God calling me to be today? Maybe the goal isn't always to find our way back to ourselves. Maybe sometimes God is asking us to trust Him and not to become someone we haven't yet become. And that can be so entirely uncomfortable because becoming requires change. It may require releasing, it may require healing, it may require saying no, it may require saying yes, it may require walking away from something familiar. And sometimes it requires taking a step without knowing exactly where that step is going to lead us. So maybe asking, who am I now, is a good question, but we should also be asking, God, who are you calling me to be in this season? Now, I want to coach you for a moment. You don't have to have all the answers today. You really don't. But I want to begin asking these questions. And I want you to actually to ask yourself this. How have those experiences changed me? What part of myself am I ready to release? What am I doing simply because I think I should? What brings me peace? What brings me joy? And finally, that question, the golden question. Who is God calling me to be in this season? You may not have the complete answers, and that's okay. The purpose isn't to solve your entire life today. The purpose is to become aware because awareness gives us somewhere to begin. If you're watching me today and you're in a season where you don't completely know who you are anymore, I want you to know something. There is still possibility in front of you. You may not have all the answers, and again, that's okay. Trust me, I don't have all the answers either, but you can begin to understand that healing is needed. You can rediscover parts of yourself. You can release things that no longer belong in this season. You can change your mind. You can dream again, and you can take the next step. Your life may not look like the way it once was. Mine certainly doesn't. But different doesn't mean your story is over. And sometimes different is where purpose begins. Trust me. Who am I now? Maybe the deeper question is again, God, who are you calling me to be in this season? And then give yourself permission, the grace, the time, and the courage to discover that answer. Your life has changed. You've changed, and your purpose is still unfolding. I want to say thank you for joining me for another episode of A Real Talk for Real Life. If today's conversation encouraged you, share it with someone who may be navigating a new season of their own. And before you go, take one question with you. Who are you in this season of life? Until next time, lead with gratitude and build with purpose. Sometimes God doesn't reveal the whole path. He doesn't. He simply asks us to trust Him and trust the very next step. This is Real Talk for Real Life. I'm your host, Sherry Ann, and I will see you the next time on Real Talk for Real Life. Bye now.